This
So,
conference
hello
will now
everyone.
be recorded.
Hello everyone. My name is Avi. So, I'm having an overall almost 20 years experience into the uh, domain as well as SAP. And in SAP, it is almost 13 plus years into the SAP, right from the SAP finance module to controlling to treasury. So, last 7 plus years, I'm into the treasury. And regarding my education qualification and concern, I did my master's and I did my MBA in finance, especially in the finance area of derivatives, securities market, and everything. It's been my fourth implementation into the SAP TRM. I have almost worked in all the areas, right from the money market, all the product group, rather, I would say, called money markets, then forex, then securities module, trade finance, and in the risks areas, I have worked in the areas of credit risk analyzer, market risk analyzers, and the hedge management. So this is kind of a short introduction about me. Um, so anybody who wants to introduce themselves, like I just wanted to know, like, what is your background? You're from SAP background or non-SAP background. It just helped me out. So anybody wants to add their experience?
Sayed, you can give your
Yeah,
intro.
good morning, Abhi. Good morning. This is Sayed. I'm.
Hi, Sayed.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm fine, Sayed. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm working in Saudi Arab, and I'm working in the company group called Energia Cables International, and I'm working in the Treasury department. So I have an idea of the products. We are dealing in the import-export LCs, guarantees, and uh, uh, payments, banking.
That's
Since
great. That's great.
I'm here since working 15 years, so now because of the Saudization concern, I just wanted to upgrade myself in the SAP. We have SAP, but my involvement in SAP is limited, and only just a user side for checking some banking entries and no. But that too, yani long back, yani 4 5 year back. Now only just reviewing the import LC SWIFTs and showing guarantees sort of thing and other things. So just need yani to know more about the involvement of SAP in the treasury so that I can recommend some implementation and maybe some good opportunity. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sayed. Yes, yes. It definitely you'll come to know because the way I'm delivering the training, it is kind of a step-by-step configurations, understanding of the treasury organization structure. First, we go with the FI organization structure, we understand, and then slightly, I mean, afterwards, we'll go to the treasury organization structures, and then we can start doing the configuration step by step. So, definitely, you will come to know. And after taking up the training, you can implement of your own. You can configure of the any of the product in treasury without any problem. Because as I mentioned, like after taking the training, a lot of people they have implemented SAP TRM independently, even though they were the part of FI consultant. So if they can do, I'm sure you can also able to do the implementation by your own. If not, if you're
But
not a part of
Abhi,
implementation
sorry
team.
for
Mhm.
interruption. Actually, I don't know about SAP FI. Okay. I'm not the consultant. I'm the yani deployment site, like
I
no,
understand.
using treasury products, dealing with the banks, and submitting the invoices and delivery notes and all these things, and getting the yani checking the payment discrepancies, all these issues. So I don't yani have much any idea, yani any concern with the SAP FI. So just yani wanted to know how this beside this providing the training yani material, how do I will do the practice, because I don't have configured in my laptop any SAP GUI or what you say, anything. So you will
Okay,
provide
Sajid. So
some
you'll be,
system.
hmm, yes, yes, you're right. We'll be providing you the system where you can configure based on the steps I have given. I'll be also going to give you the step-by-step configuration in the FI, and we'll
Okay,
discuss initially on the configuration of FI. And after
okay,
that, we will go to the configuration of the treasury and risk module, and then
okay,
only we'll go to the product level configuration.
okay, okay.
So, any other
Yeah.
people, any other participants who would like to introduce themselves?
Amit, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so basically, I'm in ACP for last now more than 10 years. And now actually I've been deployed in assignment where I need to take care of treasury part as well. So that's the whole intention of understanding this TRM.
Okay, okay, Amit, that's great. Yeah, definitely you're going to learn the TRM, and by your own, you can configure the things, any of the product, because we are taking the training step by step process. As I mentioned, like many people have already implemented based on the training provided. Yeah, so definitely you're also one of them after taking up the training. So, any other people who would like to like to add, and thank you, Amit, for your introduction.
Sajid, can you
Thanks.
add
Thanks.
if you can hear us? Sajid, we are not able to hear you. I think so. You can need to check your mic. Anand, meanwhile, if you want to add something, that would be great. Abhi, I think so. We can start the demo because I think it's some issue with the mic.
Yeah, sure, sure. Let me share my screen and let me know once you can see my screen. So this, first of all, I'll just write down what are the things we're going to learn from our treasury trading. So thing is, first of all, we learn the entire business process of TRM. Once we understand the business process, the next step would be we'll learn the accounting, which is very important, because to know like for each and every flow, what would be the accounting, how you better configure the account determination process so that your accounting for each flow, you can understand it. Third step would be reporting. What are the standard reportings are available in TRM? So for any of the, for the treasury, most of the case time you see that the understanding of business process is must. If you do not understand the business process, you cannot blindly just configure and understand, because for each and every configurations, business process, the first step would be the business process. And after you learn the business process, we talk about the accounting, and finally, as you mentioned, we talk about the reporting. This is for the how we going to understand the curriculum. Now, let's talk about the curriculum. So in SAP TRM, it's called product group. So in the product group, okay, my mistake. The product group is categorized like this way. So if you go to the product group, it has got a money market. So market product. So under the money market, this is the product group. Under the product group, this is a called money market, then forex management. Then we have got in securities. Then we have got a trade finance. Then we have in derivative products. Right. This is for the treasury perspective. And there is another term called risk management. So entire the treasury and risk management segregated with the product, segregated with these things, because when you're talking about the main product group, it's money market, forex, securities, trade finance, and derivatives. When you talk about the risk management of it, it contains credit risk analyzer. Okay. Under the credit risk analyzer, it's called counterparty. We will discuss it afterwards. This is one thing, and another thing is hedge management. Okay. So these are the total overall things. But what additionally, what are we going to take care of? We also, because I understand when you go for any SAP TRM interview, you also have to have a background of, like I would include this as an overview topic for SAP cash management. We call it as an S4 HANA cash management. S4 HANA cash management. Then also I included the topic called BCM, Bank Communication Management. So you should, these are all the topic I'll be discussing as a part of the overview. Okay. And in-house cash. I may not able to show you everything in the system, but yes, I will give you the overall understanding. So when you're talking about the in-house cash, so what are the scenarios? I'll discuss with all the scenario. Example, payment of behalf, which we call it as a POBO. We discuss about that intercompany payment, or sometime it been called as an intercompany netting. Third thing is the direct debit from customer, or sometimes we call it as a robo process, receipt on behalf of. Okay. So these are the various topics, and in the cash management, we'll discuss about the what are the short-term cash management forecast, what is the long-term cash management forecast, why we need the cash management, what are the changes are there, what are the new changes in S4 HANA cash management. So all these things we discuss, so that what happen is when you go for an interview, you have a strong base, right? How the S4 HANA cash management work, bank communication management, in-house cash, how the interflow is happening, right from the creation of the invoices to payment from the external system. All this you come to know. And now if we talk about the product group, right, this is a broader view. Now, if I try to bifurcate it, let's say if I discuss about the under the money market product, what I'm going to discuss under the money market. So let's say under money market, I'll be configuring end to end. So when I'm talking about this, the discussion here, what you have to do, we'll understand FI enterprise structure. So we'll be configuring in the system end to end all the FI enterprise structure because SAP Treasury sits on the FI enterprise structure. Until unless you configure the enterprise structure from the FI perspective, controlling perspective, your treasury will not work. So first we understand the FI enterprise structure. Not only understand, we're going to configure it in the system. The next thing would be once it is done, so which includes FI enterprise structure, all the controlling related activities like your cost centers, profit centers, all these things will come into picture. And then we discuss about the TRM enterprise structure. Okay. And then we go with the product level configuration. So I'm talking about now the product level configuration. What are the products we're going to discuss or we are going to understand? So in my entire training, you will learn end-to-end configuration from TRM perspective. You also understand end-to-end business, or we can call it as an end-to-end end user activities. So end-to-end end user activities means what are the activities they perform on day-to-day basis? What are the month-end activities associated with that? So all these things and what are the reports they're going to see? Everything you can see it in this training. So you have an understanding of enterprise structure configuration, TRM organization structure configuration, and also we also discuss about the cutover activities in details because the most important in treasury module, you have to understand what are the cutover activities, how are you going to do the cutover activities, why we require, and what are the activities needs to be performed when you go live. I discuss about the what are the BAPI available, what are the FM, what are the BAPIs available to implement those things. Example here, suppose if you wanted to load uh, all the open item deals. So which BAPI is required and what are the subsequent activities you have to perform and why we need to perform. So all these details we're going to discuss in this training. So when you talk about the enterprise, I mean when you talk about the product type, what are the things I am going to include? See, let's talk about when you talk about the money market. I'll be discussing the topic, or rather, I would say I'll be configuring the topic called fixed term deposit. So, and then there's a topic called deposit at notice, which is very popular in use. Okay. We also understand um, interest rate instrument. We also understand the facilities, right? So these are the topic would be covered in the.
Sorry, Abhi.
Can you hear me, or my voice is broken?
Yes, yes. Abhi, I have a question.
Yes, please.
From this SAP Treasury function, can we directly, yani, same process for other things also like automation? No, your payments. No, you are paying any supplier. So in SAP Treasury as for HANA, can we initiate opening and letter of credit?
Yes, the leverage credit process, you're going to understand how letter of credit or LC get issued. It will start from the order. You place an order to the bank. And then what you do, you execute the order. When you execute the order, it turns into the LC. And what are the documents are required for the LC creations? And what will
Hmm.
happen? What are the right? And all the things you're going to define it. And then what will happen? You do the settlement, and after that you execute TPB1. And there are various
So,
scenarios. Huh, right. Tell me.
so you are saying that suppose any my customer issue an letter of credit in my favor, so this letter of credit directly will come in S4 HANA, and I can check the letter of credit. Okay, and if there is some condition not matching as per my requirement, then I will ask my customer to make amendments so that letter of credit will be yani, as per our company norms. So this all through automation, yani no need to go and send the letter to the bank manually and do amendments, or yani just receive the SWIFT. Okay, ask this is the problem and accept the this amendment, and
Say it.
yani
I
if
understand your point. Yeah, I understand. So
yeah.
basically, when you're talking about the automation, see, in system, nothing is happening automatically until unless you do some kind of enhancement. So example here, when customer is issuing LC, okay, you may do some enhancement to your system based on your requirement. But here in the SAP system, we do not going to understand those things, because that we're going to understand how the LC processes that. Because what is happening, you may have got a empty messages and everything where it gets created, or if there is any triggering point via which you, those kind of processes, we're not going to take care of that. Because as we mentioned, like, we understand the standard SAP TRM, the automation part, how it is happening, maybe it has got a many factors, many parameters you have to do, give it, and based on the program will create those LC automatically, or many places there may be various tools being used. No, we're not going to take care of that. What we're going to take care of, the standard SAP deliverables. So any automation process, but yes, when you're talking about the automations would be used. We can use the automation where using the batch job or schedule job. Let's say if you wanted to make some payment, so now nowadays nobody is doing the payment manually into the system. What they do, they're going to schedule a batch job and provide the timing, and based on that, system perform the automatic schedule job for this. Similarly, there is a transaction called TPP1 in SAP TRM. That activities also, it will be scheduled in the batch job so that this will get executed automatically. These are the standard processes. So what you're talking about, that if there isn't any robotic process automations, no, that we cannot take care, because our training here would be how we're going to create those things manually into the system. We are not. I'm not an expert of RPA, so I would not be covering. So example, if you are talking about the SAP LC creation, so LC, when you create an LC, let's say you create a, you go to the bank. Let's say you wanted to buy a material from abroad, and the supplier wants an LC to be done. So what you're going to do, you go to the bank, you give a quotation like, I need an, in case if it is already there as a part of your facility, then there's no problem. You simply go to the bank, you utilize your facilities, and what you do, you have to give the purchase order to the bank and all other relevant document to the bank, and you mention what are the terms and conditions. So that terms and condition, based on that, because LC would be created based on your terms, I mean your supplier terms and condition. What are the terms and
But
condition would be written?
there are some bank they are giving the
Mhm,
window, online window
mhm,
they are giving like HSBC. Okay, no need to visit the bank. Just their online window, you will fill the form. Okay, you will attach the
mhm.
pro forma invoice and they will open the LC.
Correct,
So why it
correct.
is not integrated with the SAP?
No, this kind of, see, the point is you can, as I mentioned, that you can do the integration. Integration of the automation is not our topic, Sagar.
Mm.
We cannot do that because these kind of thing, say example, if you're going to do the form fill up online and then you can create. How you get the notification? Is it created automatically? No. Let's say if you go to the bank's portal, you fill the details of it. Bank
Yeah.
will create the LC. Then how do you come to know the LC has been created? Are they going to send it in the messages to you?
Yeah, they
What
will.
is
They
your
are sending
process?
the message. Yeah, when they will accept this thing, they will take same. Yani, the manual instead of manual application, there is a digital applications. So they
Correct,
will.
correct. No, my question is, Sahil, my question is, when bank accept the LC, will it create automatically to your system? How? What is your process currently? You're doing it,
No, I will download. Bus. I will download that I have applied for the LCs, and when
right?
the bank will
Then,
process the LC, they will notify us.
correct. So, are you doing these things manually, right? You go to the bank's portal and do that. Will it integrate it immediately? The moment you create the form, fill up everything, any notification comes to your recipe?
No,
No, right?
because it's not
Yes,
connected.
that's your
No.
point.
Hmm.
Yes, that is
We
my
have to do
point.
manual.
These act,
We have manual yani registration of the LC so that it will give the yani if some incoming LC is coming, then manually yani adjust the LC in the SAP so that
right.
customer will get the credit limit enhancement. No.
That's why these are whatever the process you're talking about. You're talking about the process, and the process is manual process. Even though it will be applied to your company, but this process, if you see, it's a manual process. You give a request to the bank, right? And that whatever you requested and ask bank to do that, that will not come automatically into ACP. So what you can do in that case, you can create the LC manually and in the form of order. That means you place an order to the bank for the LC issuance. And
Okay.
when the bank accept that order, let's say bank accept the order, in that case, you can execute the order so that it turns into a contract. That
Okay.
functionality is available. Okay. So we're going to understand these things. How order, we execute the order, and when the terms and condition, I mean, after you make the payment, you have to terminate the LC. So all these processes, right from the order creation to order execution to TPP1 executions, payment at the time of presentations, what are the documents are required to be attached. So all these processes we're going to understand in the in trade finance module.
Okay.
So let me show you something in the system so that you can understand. Give me one moment, please. Let me share my screen. I hope you all can see my screen, right? So let's say right now I'm in the SAP screen. Can you all able to see my screen? Can you all hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you can see that in SAP there is a financial supply chain management. Okay. So inside that, if we go and there are various topics. So when you talk about the financial supply chain management, now it includes many things. So it includes your credit management, collection management, dispute management, billet direct, okay, bank communication management, in-house cash. So all these things. So when you talk about the treasury perspective, so under the treasury and risk management, you can see that transaction manager, and inside the transaction manager, you can see all this product group: money market, foreign exchange, securities, listed derivatives, OTC, trade finance. Now, this trade finance, this folder, you can see that it was an recent inclusion after the S4 HANA came into picture. Now, before before that, if you are using SAP standard, I mean SAP ECC system, which is SAP 6.0 to up to enhancement pack EHP 6.7, you cannot able to see this folder. This folder, the SAP Trade Finance, SAP bring it in the after the inception of their SAP S4 HANA. So this this trade finance folder, which we call it as a product group, it has come 1509 onwards. So previously what happened, if anybody have those requirements for LC or bank guarantee, we usually do we go to the similar kind of product, do the screen announcement of the product, and then only we will accommodate the LC or bank guarantee requirement, because there is no standard solution was provided by the SAP in ECC. So now what is happening after S4 HANA came into picture, this product group called trade finance, which includes your LC and bank guarantee, these are the two products only included by them in SAP under the trade finance folder. So now what happened? If now let's say there are, right, SAP has come up with this thing like, every customer has to go with the SAP S4 HANA. So initially they have created a deadline for 2025, but they understand that the timeline may not be, suitable or sufficient for them. So they have extended the timeline. But however, there are still so many customers who have not yet moved to the S4 HANA because of their, complicated landscape, I would say, because they have gotten such kind of complicated landscape, and it is not possible for them immediately go live. So what they are doing it phase wise, they are going live. Many companies they have already moved. Let's talk about the big companies. They have already moved their ECC to migrate to S4 HANA, but there are companies still yet to go to the S4 HANA. So what happened? SAP has given it, provided, facilities like the people who are still in ECC, and if they wanted to use the SAP Trade Finance product, they have to, upgrade their enhancement pack to enhancement pack 8. So ECC 6.0, EHP 8 onwards, they can able to use this the functionality called, trade finance. This trade finance folder would be available provided they have to upgrade their system to EHP8. Similarly, the new asset accounting, if anybody wants to use in ECC, they can also upgrade to the SAP EHP, ECC 6.0, EHP8. So these are the
Abhi,
functionality has been given. Tell me.
can you just give me an idea that moving from ECC to S4 HANA to get all this enhancement, okay, this migration, how much take time and what is the cost for this yearly?
Okay. It depends on, see, I may not able to discuss right now all these things because what is happening, the
Mm-hmm.
your interest levels and other interest levels will not match. So right now, today we're going to discuss about this. What are the things we're going to discuss under the
Okay,
treasury and risk management? Later on, if you have anything, we can discuss it separately with a separate meeting at all. Yeah.
okay, okay.
So so, what we are talking about that under the product group, so we going to discuss about the fixed term deposit, deposit at notice, interest rate instruments. So when you're talking about the interest rate instrument, what does it mean? It means that you have taken a loan from a bank with a variable interest rate also and fixed rate of interest. So how are you going to tackle it into the system? How are you going to configure the system? when you have taken a loan in the fixed rate of interest, and what are the activities needs to be performed when you've taken a loan in the variable interest rate. So when you've taken a loan in variable rate of interest, you have to rely on the market data. Market data in the sense you have to get the variable rate of interest every day basis from the Bloomberg, and from there, or let's say for the month end basis, you have to, it depends what is the repayment date. Based on that interest repayment date, you have to get the interest rate instrument data into the system under the T056 table so that you can execute the transaction. So in case if you have not received the data, what are the manual processes, like TI10, TJ05? These are the transaction beings used for interest rate adjustment. It means when you execute, when you make the payment, before that payment, you have to ensure that, let's say if you're talking about the variable rate of interest, what are the components come into mind? So in India, when you've taken a loan from any bank, it follows MIBOR plus bank charges. So MIBOR is a Mumbai interbank offer rate. So this MIBOR, it gets changed every month on month basis. So it is important for you. So in case if repo rate increase, your MIBOR rate, it also impact your all the loans and everything. So you have to take, I mean, normally what you do, we take the data from the Bloomberg. It will go and update it under the reference rate data. And based on that reference rate, if let's say you have taken a loan at that point of time, your MIBOR rate would be 5%. And then afterwards, the MIBOR rate has changed to 5.5%. So all this data should be, should be available before you execute your interest rate instruments, like variable interest rate products. Example, you have to, when you execute the TJ05, which is called automatic execution of interest calculations. At that point of time, system will ensure that you have received the data into the Bloomberg. Otherwise, let's say some companies whose organization structure is very small, they don't have a much loan. So in that case, they may not go with the Bloomberg, all this kind of thing. Rather, they wanted to maintain it manually. So you also learn in case if the variable interest data will not come from the Bloomberg services, what additional step we have to perform. So we also learn that. So this is from the money market perspective. When you're talking about the money market, what are the things comes to your mind? So money market is nothing but it's a bank or the financial services. From where you basically go and buy. So when you think of the money market, you always try to correlate as in banking is kind of in bank. Money market is nothing. The bank, what the products they are dealing with. When you go to the bank, what are the products they are dealing with? They are dealing with fixed term deposit, current account, savings account. So these are called financial instruments. So when you are talking about the fixed term deposit, I'm basically talking about the financial instrument. In SAP's language, the financial instrument is called the product type. So so these are the products would be available with the bank. Similarly, under the forex also, under forex, what you're going to learn, we're going to learn under the forex all the processes. Example, we understand spot, how to buy spot, what is the process of buying spot, what are the accounting entries related to the spot. When you buy a spot, how system will configure the flow type, what are the cash flow types required for the forex management, and how the cash flows will appear, and what are the accounting entry associated with that. When you do the configuration, what are the steps required to be done. So all these things, and then we understand the forward contract with physical delivery, physical delivery, and also then we learn forward contract with cash settlements. So with, we call it as a non-delivery, non-physical delivery. So what will happen, let's say if you don't wanted to take the forward contract, you don't wanted to settle. So in that case, I mean, you don't wanted to take the physical delivery. So all these processes and what are the month-end activities associated with that. So we'll learn it under the Forex management. Similarly, for securities, we learn about shares, we learn about mutual funds, we learn about bonds, we learn about commercial paper. So commercial paper, even though it's a kind of a securities product, but that is a part of the money market product. So if you go to the securities, you may not find the commercial paper. The commercial paper would be available under the money market products. And as I mentioned in the trade finance, derivatives, under the derivatives, we will learn what is called caps, what is floor, cap, what is floor, and then uh, interest rate swap, interest rate swaps, cross currency swap. So all these things we can going to understand under the derivative products. So this is about the product which we have designed, I mean, for the training, to give you training on this area. So these are the things. So before I, close the session for today, any questions, any doubt on that, how we going to do that and what are the things are there? If you have anything, please feel free to ask me. I mean, if you have got any doubt on the how the course curriculum would be. Any questions, anything? If you
Abhi,
have any doubt, because this, yes, yes.
yeah, my first question worry is that I
Hmm.
don't have platform to learn. So, yani, on this, what you will provide, like SAP user ID and login or something to check.
Yes, 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 yes. That you need not to worry. Yes, we'll be providing that.
Okay. So all these product configuration, how we do configuration and till execution, yani you will show us in the system.
Yes, yes, yeah, of course, right. As I mentioned that I will going to show you how the step-by-step configuration needs to be done. So before the configuration, the most important thing would be what is the business process? Because if you go for it, I'm not talking about the you because you already settled down in a job. I'm talking about there are many aspirants who's coming and joining this training. They haven't, they wanted to go for the SAP TRM module because it has got a lot of demand in the market. There are people who was already into the job for them. It's not a problem. But yes, if you go for the interview, like that, what happened is they first ask the question, what is the business process? So understanding business process is must. So if you understand the business process, understand the configuration, understand the accounting, so these will give you a kind of edge to your your resume. So that's the reason. And my course curriculum, it doesn't include only just a mere configuration. See, the point is, if you understand a treasury product, one configuration, the configuration would be same. So I'm not going to mere discuss about the configuration alone. I'm going to discuss about the business processes, accounting, reporting. This would be my foundation for all the product. When I discuss about the fixed term deposit, I will be talking about the what are the recent implementation, what are the requirement has been given, so that it will help you out to understand in your implementations how you're going to talk to the client. And yes, regarding that step-by-step configuration, I'll definitely do the configuration in front of you. And I have the documents step-by-step guide, which I'll be sharing it to you, so that once you have an access to the system, you follow the same process which I'm doing, so that you can also configure the system and you learn the configuration of the TLM.
So Abhi,
Any other question?
your system is having direct connectivity with the bank, and yani how you configure bank management or bank connectivity.
Yes, yes, good point. See, first of all, in order to configure the bank. Now, in S4 HANA, there is a new thing. In ECC, you may be thinking, you may be seeing that bank account configuration is a part of the transportable job. Right now, with the S4 HANA bank account management, you have to, I mean, you can configure your bank account. So nowadays, creation of bank account, it's an end user activity. So if the business user wants to create a bank account, they can go directly to the Fiori app called Managed Bank Account app. Using the app, they can directly create the bank key, the house bank, and the bank account. Everything they can create in the Fury app. But yes, when you're talking about the line of responsibilities, it requires some kind of line of responsibility because it may possible that you give your bank account number or you can give wrong bank account number. So all these things, it has to be monitored and it has to be go with the workflow process. Let's say if you are a creator of the bank account, someone else should be approve that and it should be defined in the approval matrix. So if any user is creating a bank account and doing any sensitive field change in the bank account, who would be the person responsible to make those amendments, whether to accept that? Because when you create or make any changes, it should trigger in workflow. The workflow will not get triggered automatically. Yes, for that, workflow has to be activated. Workflow has to be activated for creation of like any change in the sensitive field that has to be done. So answer to your question, Sayed, in order
Yes, yes.
to create a bank account in bank account, you don't need the integration with the bank. The bank integration will come into picture when we basically sending a payment file to the bank, or let's say some kind of payment confirmations or the deal confirmation coming from the bank. So for that purpose only, we need an integration with the bank. Normally, these kind of creation activities of the bank account, it would be part of end user activities.
End user activity. Yani there is no from the consultant side, they will not configure the bank or just yani
Obviously,
yeah, they will make only file and they will ask you to okay, thus just send email to bank
no, 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 no,
and
no.
bank will do.
No, 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 not like that. There is a called a DMA configuration. I'm talking about the, let's say, you're talking about the any payment file sent to the bank. Of course, there is a configuration. We call it as a DMA configuration, data medium exchange. That has to be configured. You have to create the DMA template as per the bank. Then you have to maintain OBPM1, OBPM4, and then we need a PIPO's involvement, like middleware team, who will take the once you generate the DME file in the XML format, what the middleware team will do, they will take the XML format and do this kind of um, take
Normally,
the
abhi like
file. Hmm.
here we have like suppose payroll. Payroll is
Hmm.
having the yani government regulations, no? How
Right.
much
Okay.
in the payroll, how much yani your absent deduction and what is your other income and what is your basic and housing, all these details, now the government
Hmm.
want. So
Hmm.
bank accordingly, bank will provide one Excel file, and they will on this Excel file whatever coming from the SAP system HR, yani that will extract in the Excel, and but after this Excel we will copy paste in the bank file, and we will give the yani organization number and other detail, date of value date of the payments, and then we run execute this file bank, which is called bank payroll file. After this there is a text file in generation, and this text file we will upload on the bank server, and the bank will on the due date they will execute the payroll, and after
Okay.
executing the
So all
payroll
you're doing it manually, Sayed, all you're doing it manually, the payment file upload and all.
we
No, right?
SAP generating the payroll, okay, it will give you the
Mm-hmm.
Excel file. After this Excel
Correct.
file we will copy and paste all the data as per the government requirement, okay,
Mm-hmm.
W wages protection system, we will copy
Correct.
and paste in the bank Excel file. and after bank Excel file we will fill other data what is required for no because this every month this payment of employee salary and all we have to upload on the Ministry of Human Resource server actually. So when this payroll will be yani, uploaded in the bank digital site, okay, after yani, we will upload that txt file, and after the disbursement of the payroll, after 7 or 8 days bank will convert this to a WPS file, okay, wages protection file. Yani they release the payment the same day, but after 7 days they will provide us the the file, okay, which is called yani like WPS file as per the standard of Ministry of yani Human Resource. So then we will go
So,
to the
so I
server and
understand. I understand.
government server
I
and
understand.
upload
Say
this.
it.
Yes.
Say it. See what is happening in SAP. There are various activities which is segregated. You agree? So the process which you're talking about, it may be a part of human resource activities. So there is a separate module altogether for that HRA module, or maybe
Hmm.
right now if you see, there's called a success factor which is available. So
Yeah, yeah,
and this file creations, yeah, success factor. So now because SAP HCM model has been scrapped by the SAP long back, and in
okay.
2011 they have purchased a company called Success Factor. Now the Success Factor is a part of SAP, so now the for entire HCM solution, it's been under the SAP SuccessFactors. So it has started right from the employees
So
portal to
from the
employee
success
recruitment.
factor.
Yes. Hmm.
So from the success factor, we will generate the same file required to upload payroll. No need for the tools provided by the bank.
See, I don't know exactly what is your process and all these things because I feel that now SAP has provided most of the cases the DME file. So, example, if DME file, if not provided, you can configure your DME based on the requirement. So, what will happen? Because see, example, sometimes what happen if you need any file which is not there in SAP standard, let's say in your case. So what you do that you can download some file from the and upload and give your data into that and send it to uh, government authorities. So let's say if these processes are not there, then what you have to do? You have to do it manually. Or in case if these processes are available, you have to appropriately check what the DM is available for that. Or in case if the DM is still not there, if it is not there, can you able to create? But those processes you have to check it. But we are not going to focus on that. But I understand your point of view is you wanted to
Hmm.
understand how the bank integration. Bank integration doesn't mean that whenever you bank integration comes into picture, when you give the payment instruction to the bank, this is one way. Another thing is in treasury, there is a called an empty message is required when you let's say if you want the confirmation to be done automatically. Let's say after you create a deal, you want bank to be confirmed once they process. So those empty messages required. So example, in standard SAP, this integration may not able to see it because what happened, as a functional consultant role, our role is to the system, once they generate the DME file, our role is over. Yes, DME file, for that we have to do the configuration. But once the payment file is generated by the system based on the required configuration or specific configuration of the DME, then middleware team comes into picture. They will take the file from the selected directory and push it to the bank server. So these kind of activities, as I mentioned, it cannot be solely done by you. It requires PIPO, teams. So their job is to take the folder and send it, place it to the bank server, and from there, bank will process it.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say example, there are so many things are there, but do we have to learn everything? No. Answer is no. We are only focusing on the from our treasury perspective, what are the things required? Let's say in treasury, if you cannot go create the bank account, you cannot post the EBS. So bank account creation under S4HANA, we're going to understand how to configure main house bank, how to configure the payment request, how to configure the account determination. That would be a part of the curriculum. As you try to ask, what will happen? No, integration topic, as I mentioned, it is not our topic alone. If you wanted to understand how the integration take place, you have to check with the SAP middleware team. Okay, so what are the things, because they have their own processes, they have their own configuration. From functional perspective, we don't bother about how, like maybe we bother in the sense we give the instruction to the PIPO or middleware team to send the file to the bank server, but beyond that we don't do anything. Rest of the activities will be performed by the PIPO person. This is what I'm
Okay.
trying to say. Okay, because in SAP you cannot do everything. You cannot do the change of coding in the program. We are a functional consultant. We only have to do, the functional configuration. There are, if you need any program changes or code modification, you have to talk to the SAP about team, or subsequently, if you need any help from the middleware, you have to talk to the PIPO team, and so on.
Okay.
Any other question? Yes, also I have not included one thing here. Example, I'll also discuss about the bank account management. So we understand versus BAM light versus full scope. Now nobody is pronouncing the term. I think you can all able to hear me. I mean, you can see my screen, right? Yes, I can. Yeah, I can see. Okay. So there is called basic scope versus full scope. So the basic scope versus full scope, if you go to the system, and if we go to that transaction, not here, but cash and liquidity management, general settings, define basic settings. So you can see here, there is a called basic scope and there is called full scope. So what do you mean by basic scope? The basic scope is something like that. If customer don't want to go with the new functionality provided by SAP with in terms of activate control, let's say workflow activate via dual control. So in that case, if they don't wanted to say your customer, they only wanted to create the bank account directly. They don't want any line of responsibilities to be included. In that case, they may not need to buy separate licenses from the SAP. They simply go with the basic scope of it. But when you talk about the full scope, it's having a separate licenses for the cash and bank account management. So using this particular functionality, if you have to buy separate licenses for full scope, only then you can get this additional functionality. For basic scope, you only get directly activate directly. For full scope, you can have an option called activate via the dual control, activate via workflow, enable snapshot functionality, enable cash request integration. Okay, and this is for bank enable for the contract accounting, FICA model. So all these new
Abhi,
features, which
what
is
is for enable snapshot?
yes. So enable snapshot is basically in SAP. If you remember in ECC days, what is happening? So example, let's say you create a memo record. So what will happen? Every memo record has got an expiry date, right?
Yes.
Expiry date. So when you create a memo record, you mention the value date and also you mention the expiry date. So what will happen? Let's say you posted an amount, let's say 10,000 USD. So after a certain point of time, if you expire that, so this report was not available into the SAP ECC. You might be, if you are using the SAP ECC system, this was a challenge in SAP. So example, the moment, let's say you posted today, Today's date is, let's say, 19th August, and the value date would be, let's say, for 20 August. Now, after 1 month, if someone wants to go and see the report, like on 19 August, let's say I'm sitting right now in the September, I wanted to see the report of 19 August, I may not able to see that because the memo record has been deleted. So because of that reason, SAP has come up with the functionality of the snapshot. So example, using the snapshot, even though the memo records get deleted or expire in the system, still you can go and see the report using the snapshot.
So
Is
it
it?
will help us in the cash and liquidity report
Yes, yes,
for
yes,
to
yes.
view
You're
the.
right. Yes. In the cash management report, when you go to the cash management report, it will help you out to using the snapshot functionality for the memo. I mean, cash flow analyzer app. When you go to the cash flow analyzer app, there one field I can activate called um, enable snapshot. So using the snapshot functionality, even the memo records being expired in the system, expire from your system, but still using the snapshot functionality, you can go and view the past records. And it is associated with the cash flow analyzer report.
Thank you. So you are going
You're
to cover
welcome.
the cash flow and liquidated cash
Yes,
management.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank
I
you.
will show you, definitely show you this functionality. Yes. And also now in the S4 HANA, because previously what happened, if you go to the SAP ECC system example, previously what will happen, you go to the accounting, financial supply chain management, and if you go to the cash and liquidity management, memo records. So you can see there are different transaction code has been used. FF63 to create memo records, FF65 to display memo records. If you wanted to edit those memo records, you have to again go to the another transaction, FF6B. And yes, so now what happened? Everything you can create, change, display, you can use under the single Fiori app called manage memo records. So you need not to go to this transaction. See, purpose of this S4HANA transitions is SAP don't want you to go with this transaction code anymore. You can use the Fiori app. So what is the main benefit of the Fiori app? You can see the wonderful dashboard reports. You can perform all this transaction, all these activities using one single Fiori app. And not only that, SAP, you can you can expire the memory codes, you can delete the memory codes, you can modify the memory codes, you can create the memory codes. Everything you can do it under the single Fury app called Manage Memory Codes. Another two addition, especially in the SAP Fury Managed Fury app memory codes, you can create forex trade request, trade request. So these two functionalities also has been added up with the SAP S4HANA with the managed memo records app. Yeah. So any other questions, any other doubt, please feel free to ask. And another question, this training will take a lot of time. It may not be I start the training and after 1 month I say course is over. No, that is not the case. I'll be taking up the training very slowly and gradually so that you can all understand everything. So it will take to 50 to 60 hours. So it will go to 2.5 to 3 months. So by the time we can complete the training, I would feel that you all get placed to the Treasury project. If not, if you are planning to move your career from FAP, FICO to other SAP Treasury, you can also do that up to 2.5 months. But provided you have to do the practice. So it will take 2.5 months to 3 months. And since I am not a kind of a freelancer who is doing what I am actually SAP implementation consultant, and I also have this project implementation project. So I may not be available all the time. So I am right now, I can only able to do Saturdays, Sundays, uh, because of my hectic schedule. So that's why you have to at least 3 to 4 months. I mean, you have to. I will take a time to complete the session. So in case if you feel that no, I wanted to complete in 1 or 2 months, so I think this training platform would not be suitable for you because I normally read 2 to 3 month, 3 month plus, and I don't have any Monday to Friday practice taking at this point of time. No, I can only take the session on Saturday, Sundays. So yeah, any questions? So what I'm trying to say, you have to find your time that you're going to complete the courses. So you don't think that it will finish immediately. That's what my point. Any other question?
So, yani, you will take all the treasury part on weekends
Correct.
for
My
60
this
hours.
session will be happening. Yes, 55 to 60. Yes, somewhere 50 to 60 hour in between.
After that practice session, you will not come, and if any
No,
issues,
no, no.
then
It is not. You should not wait for me. The practice. The moment one topic will discuss, you have to do and do the configuration immediately into the system. You should not wait for me that I will complete the session and only after that you start doing the
okay,
configuration. No, the thing would be it should be parallel. The moment I start doing something, you also parallelly do the same thing in the system.
okay.
Yeah. Any other question? If not, we can wind up the session for today.
Abhi, what time you are planning to take in weekends?
I think Sana will let you know. Yes, based on your convenience and my convenience both. Yes, that we'll discuss it with Sana. You can discuss it with Sana. Any other question? Any other question? Okay. If not, we can wind up the session for today. Thank you for joining the session.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sayed. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, everyone.